What's up guys, this is Charles with Rocky Mountain ATV MC. Today I'm going to show you how to change out your clutch plates on a Raptor 660. Alright, these clutches on these Raptor 660s do wear out over time just through normal wear and tear, but if your clutch is misadjusted or you're abusing the clutch, that wear can be accelerated. So how to tell if it's slipping is you go to give it throttle and the engine RPM increases, but there's little or no increase in vehicle speed. And if you've already checked your clutch free plate and that's all in spec, then you're probably going to need to replace your clutch pack. Now this process is the same for all years of the Raptor 660, but today we're working on a 2002. To do this job, we'll need some common hand tools, rags, safety glasses. We have some rubber gloves since we're dealing with chemicals. For parts, we have our clutch cover gasket. We've got a Tusk competition clutch kit with heavy duty springs. This kit comes with the steels, fibers, and springs. And this fiber material is an air mid material. It's going to last longer than your standard clutch plate. We've got a couple of gaskets for our water pump and some coolant. We also are using the Tusk oil change kit. Since we already know that we're replacing our clutch plates, we're going to go ahead and get these soaking in oil. First things first, we need to gain access to what we're working on. So for us, we're going to remove this Nerf bar, heel guard, and foot peg, and this rear brake pedal. At this point, we can now drain our coolant. So to do that, we'll remove this drain bolt right here on the bottom. Then we'll go ahead and remove this front cover on the front of the machine. That's going to give us access to our radiator cap. Once we remove the radiator cap, that's going to allow us to drain all of the coolant out of the machine. The next thing we need to do is drain our engine oil. To do that, what we're going to do is remove the dipstick out of our oil tank. Then there's a drain plug in the bottom of it. We'll remove that. And then there's a drain plug on the left side of the engine. We remove both of those and you might as well replace the oil filter since we're draining this oil out anyway. So we'll take that off and go from there. All right, now that we have the oil drained out, what we can do is reinstall our drain bolts. And when we do that, you want to use your new crush washers that came in the oil change kit. We'll wipe our sealing surfaces and then torque them down to spec. Now that we have the fluids drained out of our machine, we can go ahead and remove this clutch cover. To do that, I'm going to remove this brake light switch and get it out of our way, and then we'll go ahead and remove this clutch cable. The next thing we need to do is remove the water pump. To do that, we've got two cooling hoses that we'll remove. And then we have 3 bolts that we'll remove. Now I'm just using this hook tool to help remove these cooling hoses. But when you do this, just be really careful you don't puncture the hose. The next thing we'll do is remove the banjo bolt fittings for the oil pipes. Don't forget there's a crush washer on the inside of the banjo fitting as well as on the outside. We're just about ready to remove the bolts for this clutch cover, but to do that we need to remove our skid plate. So we'll get that out of the way and then we're going to use a box end wrench on some of these bolts around the frame that are kind of hard to get to. And we're going to loosen the bolts in a crisscross pattern in a couple of different steps and remove them. At this point, we can now pull the clutch cover off. One thing I do want to point out, this bolt in the bottom left-hand corner right here, it does not come out all the way, so we just pulled it out a little bit. We're going to pull the cover out and we can actually snake it out that way. Now with the clutch cover removed, we'll loosen up these pressure plate bolts in a crisscross pattern, and we'll do it in a few different steps. Now we'll remove the pressure plate by pulling on this push rod, and that's just going to help keep the thrust washer and bearings in place as well. The next thing we'll do is remove the friction and steel plates. There's also a judder spring in here from the factory. Yours may or may not have this depending if you have an aftermarket clutch in or not. And some of these aftermarket clutches don't reuse the judder spring. That's the judder spring I'm talking about. And then we've got a couple of plates right behind that. Now that we have the clutch plates out, we can now inspect them. If you're not sure if your clutch plates were the problem, there's a few different checks you can make. You can measure the thickness. Now, our clutch plates, we've got two different styles. We've got a larger inside diameter plate and then a smaller inside diameter plate, and they have two different measurements for them. So for the smaller inside diameter, we're going to be at 2.6 millimeters. And that is the service limit. So this one's above the service limit, but as you can see, the friction material is glazed and it looks shiny even if you wipe it off. With that oil gone, you can still see some of it looks a little shiny. Now this plate's also above the service limit, but again, it does look glazed. So this clutch, you can tell it has been hot at some point in time, and probably the easiest way to tell that is on the steel plates. You can see this plate has a lot of bluing to it. If it doesn't look blue, here's what a new plate should look like, or what the plate should look like in normal use. So just based on the color alone, we know these steel plates are going to be warped a little bit, and that's probably part of what was causing our issue. So we're going to replace the set, and then the other thing we need to inspect, we've got to inspect this clutch hub, the clutch basket. You can see this clutch hub got hot at one point in time as well. So we're going to clean that up so we can inspect it a little better. And then the other thing on this, you'll want to rock the clutch basket side to side and see if there's a lot of play separate from this gear on the back side of it, because there's some dampers back there. And if you've got play in that, you're going to need to go ahead and replace that. Other than that, all we'll do is inspect these fingers for any grooving or notching. And as you can see on this clutch hub, we actually do have a little bit of notching on there. It's probably not bad enough for us to replace at this point in time, but as that notching gets worse, it's going to make it harder for the clutch pack to release, and you'll notice the clutch starts to grab. So over time, as these notches get worse in the clutch hub, eventually you're going to feel the bike want to creep forward even when the clutch is pulled in and everything's adjusted right. So if that's happening on your machine and you have really bad grooving in either the basket or the hub, you want to replace those parts. So now we'll get the clutch basket and hub cleaned up. We'll also clean the gasket sealing surface on our engine case, and then we'll get ready to install our new clutch pack. Keep in mind while you're cleaning this cover that we have a rubber seal right here, and you don't want to cut that with your gasket scraper. Now on our clutch, we are replacing these clutch springs, but if you're not sure if you need to, you can actually take a measurement. The minimum measurement on this is 40.7 millimeters. So we are actually under that on ours. We're at 40.3. So we definitely want to get those replaced, or if yours measure under the limit, you want to get those replaced. One thing I want to point out while we clean this clutch cover is the clutch release arm has some teeth down at the bottom. You want to inspect those and make sure they're in good condition. And then also the push rod that hooks onto them, you want to make sure those teeth look good as well. All right, now that we have all of our clutch parts clean, we'll start by installing a friction disc with a smaller inside diameter. And again, we've already coated these in oil and let them soak. After that, we're going to take a steel disc, and we've coated this in oil as well. Now, the orientation on this, you've got a square edge and a rounded edge. It doesn't matter which side goes in, you just want all the square sides facing the same way. So I'm going to go with these square sides facing out. At this point, if you were reusing the stock judder spring, then you would install it in this place right now. But since we're using the Tusk Competition Clutch Kit, we're not going to reuse this. So we'll go ahead and set this aside. The Tusk Competition Clutch Kit did come with 2 discs with a larger inside diameter. So we're just going to put this plate where it normally would go if you were using that judder spring. Next, we'll install a steel plate, and then we're going to alternate between the steels and the friction discs with the smaller inside diameter until the very last plate. The last plate is going to have the larger inside diameter on the friction disc. After we get those installed, we can reinstall the pressure plate. Now, to do that, I've already soaked this thrust washer and bearing in oil, and we'll put that onto the pressure plate. And when we install this, I'm going to have the teeth of the push rod facing towards the rear of the machine. The other thing to note, there's an arrow at the top of this pressure plate. The arrow needs to line with this dot on the clutch hub. Next, we'll install the clutch springs and torque the bolts to 5.8 foot-pounds, and we'll do that in a crisscross pattern. Okay, with those torqued down, what we'll do next is reinstall the dowel pins, and then we'll install our clutch cover gasket, reinstall the clutch cover, and torque those bolts down to spec. When we install this cover, we need to install it so this clutch release arm, the index mark, lines up with this line on the right side engine cover. Now, it's kind of hard to see that on ours because it's pretty worn down, but most of these it's pretty obvious. There's a line just right there, and you'll just line it up. And again, don't forget to reinstall this bolt before you install the cover in that bottom left-hand corner. Now, right before we put this in, we're gonna make the job a little bit easier by removing the set bolt right here. And then we're gonna lift this clutch arm up just a little bit, and then we'll line everything up once it's actually in place. So we need to set this clutch release arm up so that the timing mark right here on that portion of it lines up with the line coming up on that side of the case. So you want them lined up when there's just barely any pressure on this clutch arm. So ours, we're gonna have to pull this up. And we're going to have to rotate ours back just a little bit. Once you've got these adjusted where they line up, then we'll go ahead and reinstall that set screw or set bolt.
Be very careful not to over tighten these bolts. And next, we'll install the clutch cover bolts in a crisscross pattern.
The next thing we'll do is reinstall the banjo bolts, and we're going to use our new copper washers on those. Just make sure you get one in between the oil pipe fitting and the engine cover. And we'll slide one onto the banjo bolt. And then we'll torque it to spec. Next, we'll reinstall the clutch cable. Once this is installed, you want to make sure you bend this tab on the clutch actuating arm down. All right, the next thing we need to do is install our water pump. To do that, I've got a new O-ring right here. and I'm just going to put a little bit of oil on this, help everything go together easily. Once you have the O-ring in place, when you go to install the water pump, you want to make sure that the gears engage, so you might have to rotate it back and forth until the water pump seats all the way down. Next, we'll install these bolts and torque them to spec. Next, we'll reinstall the cooling lines. After that, we'll go ahead and reinstall this rear brake light switch. All right, now we've got everything pretty close back together, so we're going to go ahead and reinstall our skid plate. Next, we'll install the oil filter, and to do that, I'm just going to put a thin film of oil on that O-ring right there. Now, to tighten up these oil filters, you don't want to crank them down too tight. Once that gasket lightly touches the case, you're going to go another 3/4 to 1 turn. The last things we'll do is reinstall the foot brake, heel guard, Nerf bar, and then fill up the fluids and bleed the cooling system. After you've ran your machine and let it come up to operating temperature, let it cool down all the way, and then we'll check the cooling, make sure it's still topped off as well as the reservoir in the back, and then we'll also check that oil level. And that's all there is to replace the clutch plates on your Raptor 660. It's really not that bad a job to do, and if you need these parts, they're available on our website, so be sure to check that out and subscribe to our YouTube channel because we have a ton of other helpful videos on there. Thanks for watching.